Character. Some people have it, some people don't. But today I want to talk about how having character is important when it comes to business. What's up, travelers? Prinston Hicks coming to you from the Centerverse. I'm out here in Uptown Park today. And what I want to talk about is the idea of how character is important in relations to business. Because of course you could check all the boxes, you could have all the things done, know all the strategies, know all the techniques, but why do some people still fail? And today I want to talk about how character plays a big part in your success in business. Let's get right into it. In this video, I want to talk about character. Now, I recently received this message from my aunt, and it reads like this. If you ever do a video answering a question from your views, here's mine. How important do you find character to be in running a legitimately successful business? Now, I of course find character to be probably one of the most important things when running a business. Of course, if you don't have character, people won't follow you. One part about our psychology is that we love consistency. We love people to have standards, values, morals, whatever the case may be, and live up to those standards, morals, and values. And if you're not living up to those standards, morals, and values, people won't follow you. It's called the inconsistency bias. It's one of the 25 cognitive biases. And people who are inconsistent, we tend to move away from them. So how does this relate to your business? I want to tell a personal story about how I found that character, having that force of will, and having a strong sense of values and integrity has helped me in my own business and in my own life. So I remember being on campus in college. This was a long time ago. And I'm a part of an organization. In this organization, we're doing a pageant. And the pageant the year before literally only had 20 people in it. It was the worst pageant on campus that year. So we were sitting in a meeting and everybody was sitting around talking about how can we make the pageant better? Who's going to run the pageant? Now, the person who did it last year, I don't know if maybe it was Zigo, whatever the case may be, he didn't want to do it again. He was in there bitching and complaining about, well, I don't want to do it because nobody helped me last year. Nobody wanted to be a part of it. Nobody was giving me any support. So I sat in the meeting and looked around, everybody's arguing, and they were just deciding that they're not going to do a pageant. So at this time, having no influence, having nobody who wanted to help me, I decided that I was going to take it upon myself to take over the pageant. So I raised my hand and I say, you know what? I'm going to do the pageant. But one thing, I don't want to hear anybody complain about how I choose to go about it. So I took me and two other members of the organization and we set out to start building this pageant. But me, I didn't want to do something simple. I wanted to do something visionary. So I got together with the two other members of the organization, and then I got together with my brother because he's a member of the organization too. And we came up with Omega's Next Top Model. And Omega's Next Top Model was an actual reality show that we're going to shoot that would take place over 5 weeks, and we would announce the winner at the pageant. But how would I do this? I had no experience with reality TV. I had no experience with editing. I had no experience with video at all at the time. I didn't know how I would get this done, and I didn't know how I would get other people to help me with it. But because I said it, because I chose to follow through and be consistent with what I said, I set out to do it. So I sat down and I drew up a plan week to week how we would get it accomplished. I drew out the operations from week to week, where the meetings would take place. I drew out all the pertinent details in order for people to see that I was serious about it, that I was consistent to what I said in the pageant. I handed it out, I issued it out to everybody, and everybody looked at it. And then at first, still nobody really wanted to be a part of it. But then, after the first week when we started filming, something happened. People started to slowly want to support it. Because why? I was consistent. The same thing with the campus. A lot of people didn't even want to go to any events or think about any pageants. When we put up this poster, and people could vote on who they wanted to be in the pageant. We started off with like 40 girls and we whittled it down to 20. And at first people saw it and they were laughing at it. They literally were laughing at the idea of us doing a pageant called Omega's Next Top Model. But we started off slow and we stayed consistent with it, week after week. Every week we had them do a challenge and we recorded it. And we eliminated 2 girls after each week. Week on week on week, we built upon it. And each week, more and more people started to come aboard. More and more members of the organization started to come aboard. And more people on campus started to come on board. But why is this? How does this start from being just in a meeting and having a clear sense of purpose of what I'm going to do lead to now people coming on board? Now, at this time, this was when Facebook was first starting, and you can reliably count on how many people were going to come to your party based on the RSVP count. Now, I think for every other event to that time, we only got up to maybe 200 or 300 people, but Omega's Next Top Model had 1,400 RSVPs. And the venue we were hosting it in could only hold 900 people. So we get to the event. At this time, all the members of the organization are excited about it. Now keep in mind, nobody wanted to be a part of this when I first started. We get to the event and we decided to play the first episode. We use it as segues between the different segments. You know, in a beauty pageant, you have like the after 5 wear, or you have the nightgown, evening gown wear. And between it, we played segments of the show. Now, in this show, we actually had an altercation. The 2 of the girls got into a fight because one of them lied about who they wanted to eliminate, and they voted one of the girls off. Now, I know this is a little bit sleazy, but at the same time, it was good entertainment at the time. But when they got into it, the girls started fighting, and it just got, the crowd was just going crazy. They were erupting, everybody was out their seats. I mean, literally, people were out their seats. And I remember looking over to one of the members of the organization. He looked at me and he said, "Let's cut it off. That's too much. It's too much. They can't take no more." And then I remember us turning it off and closing the curtains. And when I looked out into the crowd, for the first time ever in person, I saw a standing ovation. The crowd actually gave us a standing ovation. Now I use this story to illustrate the point. How can somebody go from just something that nobody wants to attend, nobody wants to be a part of? And keep in mind, something else I forgot to mention is that we were selling the tickets for $10 at the door. That's a big jump from $1 the year before. But how do you go from nobody wanting to be a part of it, nobody wanting to be involved, nobody wanting to have anything to do with it, to go into a point where everybody wants to be involved? And the reason people wanted to be involved, the way that you go from nobody wanting to be involved or building something legitimately successful, is having a strong character. Because keep in mind, I didn't know how to do any of these things. I didn't know how to build a reality show. I didn't know how to film anything. I didn't know how to edit at the time. I didn't know how to do any of these things. All I had was my character, my will, and my consistency to push it through. The project's called Omega's Next Top Model. You can still see the trailers. They're up on YouTube right now if you search Omega's Next Top Model. We actually made 2 seasons of it, and it became one of the biggest events on the campus of all time. And that's the same thing when it comes to business. If you want to build a legitimately successful business, you're going to have character, because character is what people follow. If your company has a vision, if it has standards, if it has anything that it's trying to do, you need to be consistent to those standards. You need to have integrity. You need to have values, because if you have those values, if you have integrity, people will follow. People will want to get behind you. And it's not specifically necessary that you have a specific set of standards or a specific set of values that the next person has, but your own. People will follow a person whether they have a set of morals and values to say, I want to make people happy. Or they have a set of morals and values to say, you know what, I want to cause the most chaos. I want to shake up the world. I want to be a disruptor. I want to shake up the status quo. No matter what it is, as long as you hold true to those standards, those values, and have that integrity, people will want to follow. And another point, leadership. It's important in leadership because people will not follow a person if they don't have morals, standards, and values. If the leader can't hold himself to a certain standard, how can you expect the people that work for you to hold themselves to any type of standards? So I was talking to a friend about this the other day, and we talked about people having their shit together. And one of the reasons people are perceived this way is because they have integrity, they have morals, and they have values. So think about having standards, think about having morals, think about having values, and how you can tie that into building a business. Because of course, something can start small and people not believing in it at all. But over time, you take the time to stay true to the things you said. If you're consistent to the ideas and beliefs that you hold, people will start to follow. People will start to become part of your movement, no matter what that movement is. You could want to eradicate world hunger, or you could just want to make a cool video or have a cool following on Facebook. Whatever the case may be, you have to be true to it. You have to uphold that integrity, and you have to use a strong character to build that movement. So think about how you can build that strong character. Think about how you can take that integrity, those morals and values, and use it to your advantage to build the things you want in your life and build the things that you want in your business. As usual, like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.